Hi, everybody. I am here with Lois, and Lois has kindly agreed to do an interview to talk about her experience with drawing and talking that she did with a drawing and talking practitioner because we believe that it's really important to hear children's voices so that other people can hear like what was good about it, what might not have been so good about it, how you felt about it. So I really want to thank you for coming today and doing this with us. All right. So Lois, how old are you?
I'm 9 years old.
Okay, good. And you know, when someone first said to you, like, oh, would you like to do some drawing and talking? Maybe it might help you. Do you remember that?
Yeah.
And so what was life like for you before you did drawing and talking?
Well, it was very stressful. I had very bad panic attacks sometimes.
Okay.
Before I go to bed.
Yeah.
It was really before I go to bed.
Yeah.
Because I found that time I had the most trouble. And it was just really bad. I was hitting stuff around the room and stuff. Yeah. And it was quite bad.
So it was like stressful for you,
yeah.
And you knew that like you were anxious and stuff. Yeah. And if somebody had said to you at that time, you know, Lois, how do you feel and how can I help you? Would you have been able to explain it?
No, not really. Because the thoughts that come to me, I don't actually know where they come from.
Okay. It's a good answer.
One day they just randomly came to me.
Yeah. All right. Okay. And so then someone said, well, there's this thing that might help you. Right. Can you remember what they said about drawing and talking? What did they tell you about it?
Well, they told me that it will help me. They didn't really tell me much about it.
Okay.
So I had to learn in my first lesson what it was about.
Okay.
But they just like told me like, would you like to do drawing and talking? And it might help you.
Right. And so you were okay. You wanted help.
Yeah.
You kind of in some ways like, I want help, but I don't know how to get it. And all of that kind of stuff was going on for you. Yeah. Well, that's loads of people feel like that. So that's really common, right? So you've explained it really, really well that, you know, sometimes when we've got all these big feelings going on as adults as well, Lois, right? Not just children, but like when we've got all these big feelings going on inside of us, we can't find the words, like we can't say what it is or why or, you know, that kind of thing. So that's really cool. So when you did your first session and you met your drawing and talking practitioner, which wasn't me, by the way, but when you were not me, but when you met your drawing and talking practitioner, how did you feel going into the first session?
Well, I felt like once I knew what it was about, I kind of questioned if it was going to work or not. But in the end, it did help. But in my first session, I thought it was really fun. And it was a way for you to like stop worrying, but in a fun way, instead of like going to like actually talk to someone with my feelings.
Got it. So you could use it like, so did you make sense of that the pictures and the images that were coming out into your paper or onto your paper, the way that the practitioner asked you the questions, you could talk about feelings in a different way without having to say
my feelings.
Your feelings. And how did that work, do you think, for you?
Yeah, but also I still have to talk to someone about my feelings. And now I still have to talk to people about my feelings.
And so that's interesting. So what is it that you think drawing and talking gave you that now has you be able to share your feelings with people?
Well, first of all, I don't react as much. Like I used to have very, very bad reactions. I don't react as much. I can usually just like kind of tell someone what's going on, but it's not as easy as that.
Yeah.
But I can sort of tell people what's going on now in a more descriptive way, but I still can't tell people what's going on because I don't know where it's coming from.
Sure. So the anxiety and the panic is less. It's kind of lowered.
Yeah.
You're not having the panic attacks. And when you do feel those feelings start to bubble, somehow you're able to let people know and you're able to get help earlier.
Yeah.
Maybe a bit like that.
Yeah.
Mm.
But a way that people like tell that something's going on with me is I kind of like, I'm all happy and stuff because I am happy most of the time. And then I just start to like drift down, and then when I just don't speak to people at all.
Okay, so that's one of the signs you've noticed about yourselves now.
Yeah, I don't speak to people when I'm angry.
Yeah, people have different reactions, don't they? Some people shout when they're angry, some people go inside themselves when they're angry. It's good to know what you do. So what happened? Do you want to give a little bit? Why don't you tell people a little bit of what happens in a drawing and talking session then? How does it work? Well, what do they tell you? What do you do?
In a drawing and talking session, you go in and it's the same place, the same time, the same day. So you know what's happening. And you get a piece of paper and a pencil, and you get to just draw whatever you want. And when you're done drawing, the person that's with you asks you questions about your picture. Like if I drew a picture of a racetrack with people, they would ask me how the racetrack was feeling while people were running on it. And it happens for 12 weeks. Yeah, it happens for 12 weeks. So you have 12 pictures, you put it in a folder, and at the end of the session, the person takes your folder back home to keep it safe with them. But at the end of the 12 weeks, they'll give you a folder back.
What have you done with your folder, Lois?
I've put it in my room somewhere. And if I need to look at it, then I'll look at it and maybe show people. Okay. So yeah, it's in my room and it's safe.
All right. So have you got any questions for me?
Yes, I do.
All right then, hit me with it.
A question is, when did your company start?
So, 20 years ago. So we're in 2004 now. And we started this 20 years ago. So we've worked with about 40,000 plus people. We've trained how to do this, like your practitioner. And that means that there's about 2.5 million kids, 3 million kids and adults that have done drawing and talking. And some of those are now adults and coming on our training. So that makes me very old. Makes my mother even older, who is Mrs. Drawing and Talking. But yeah, that's how old this company is. So you were in very safe hands when your practitioner was doing that with you. Yeah. Any other questions? That's a good question.
I've heard there's like, instead of drawing and talking, there's like, you do it with sand.
Yes. Yeah, we do. So some people like find, you know how you said about you could draw the images and then you could tell the story about the images and things. So some people find using the paper a little bit difficult, right? So we use a sand tray instead, and there's lots of different types of characters, and it works the same way, still 30 minutes once a week for 12 sessions. Yeah. But instead you tell stories with the character in the sand, and then they take a picture of the sand tray at the end, and then that goes in the folder, and that's what the practitioner takes home, and then that person gets to keep. But that's for people who maybe find the talking bit very difficult, like the storytelling bit of it, or get really anxious about the drawing. That works really well for them. Yeah. You've been doing your research. Future practitioner there. All right, so my last couple of questions for you then, Lois. What if another child or adult was going to say to you, should I do drawing and talking or not? What would you say to them?
Well, first of all, I would ask them what they're struggling with, because if they're struggling with something like they like move around a lot, then they'll probably like go to somewhere like sensory or something. Okay. But if they're struggling with anxiety, then they should go to drawing and talking. But if they find that drawing and talking won't help them, then they can go like speak in depth to like a psychiatrist.
Yeah.
Or something.
Right. So if they've got really, like if their issues are really, really dominating them, then they should definitely go to a therapist or a psychiatrist. Yeah. Absolutely. That is very good advice. But if they're issues that might be able to be supported just by having that connection with somebody and being heard and listened to, then drawing and talking would be a good
it would
thing.
be a good thing.
All right. I think that's an excellent piece of advice. And then what would you say to anybody who is thinking about, so let's say there was a mum or a dad or a grandparent or a teacher or someone like that, what would you say about them learning how to do drawing and talking, or letting their child do drawing and talking?
I would say it's a really good idea, but I think you should research what you're doing first.
Yes.
Because drawing and talking isn't for like people that struggle with like moving around.
Sound play might be better for those people.
Sound play will be better with those people.
Yes.
But if you want to do something like drawing and talking, you could have anxiety.
Yeah.
Or like
worries,
or
sadness. Maybe someone, maybe you've lost somebody or something like that.
Yeah, or like struggle with
sleep.
Yeah, sleep. Struggle with like stopping something. So stopping bad habits. Then you could go to drawing and talking and doing that.
Thank you. Are you glad you did it?
Yes, I'm very glad I did it.
Did it help you?
Yes, it did help me. I'm
so pleased it helped you, Lois.
Thank you.
I really, really am. And I just want to thank you so much for being so eloquent and sharing with us, and for your insight and your knowledge. It's really powerful.
Yeah.
And you're going to go on to make a difference to an awful lot of people. So thank you so much.
It's okay.